This is Steve Kramer, and you're watching Voice of the Heroes and the Villains.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's the one and only one fleeboy Jetson. And if you're tuning in for the first time, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any discussions and interviews from any one of our heroes or villains from across the world. And today we got a very special guest. You might have heard her currently, and I was reincarnated as the Seventh Prince so I could take my time perfecting my magical ability. Ain't that a handful? Makeine losing too many heroines, solo leveling, and so much more. Let's welcome Brianna Roberts to the show. How you doing today?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me on your show.
Hey, thank you for coming. So let's get right into it. I definitely want to talk about some of your characters from some of the newer animes, like Makeine, and also I was reincarnated as the Seventh Prince. Can you tell us about some of your characters in some of these new animes? Because I haven't gotten the time to watch them, but I'm pretty excited for some of them.
Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. So you mentioned we always shorten the names because who has time, time to say all of those? I'm Talia in Seventh Prince. It's a cute, fun show. She gets introduced about halfway through the season with her little band of misfits. And we get to kind of see their journey and their interaction with the main character, and they kind of close out the first season where all of our characters should be back in season 2. And I believe they've already announced a season 2 for Seventh Prince. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that one's been a lot of fun. Lee George is the director. He's so much fun to work with. So excited that I got to be with him, and some of his he just started directing at Crunchyroll this year, I believe. So some of his first shows, cool to get to be a part of.
Well, that's dope. And what about Makeine?
Okay, so if you haven't watched the show, also, I'm just going to tell y'all, I know some of y'all might be wondering about the pronunciation on that name. Me too. I don't know. I never have to actually say it in the show. So that one's so good. Helena Wallstrom is the director on that one. I play Shikiya, who is this really strange character who's part of student council, and she kind of is like a zombie, and I think everyone is kind of like, is she a zombie? Is she not a zombie? She's the weirdest character that I've ever played. And it's been so fun because she's so different from what I typically play in anime. So it's been a lot of fun to explore this goofy and strange and weird character. So you should go watch it if you're not. It's a good time.
Now, two new animes that you're in, I definitely got the pleasure of checking out. One is The Witch and the Beast, and the other one was Solo Leveling. Out of all of these new animes that you're in, because you're in a bunch this year, which one was your favorite to voice so far?
Let me think. So I got to think of the calendar year. Okay, which ones have I been in? Because a lot of shows sometimes we don't know until we actually show up in the studio what exactly we're recording. So we don't have time to do research or find out more about the character, and that might be it. We might record that one time, that one session, and never come back to the show again. It was that way with I see. Look, I already blanked out the name. The one about the beast, and
The Witch
the
and the
Witch and the
Beast.
Beast. I was there and gone again. So my favorite one, okay, so there's Makeine. Shangri-La Frontier kind of counts. It's a bleed over from the fall into the January of this year, and season 2 is coming out this fall. I'm so excited. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
let's go. Do we have a
Okay.
release date for that?
We don't have the official release date yet, but I do know we're dubbing it, and we start in the fall season, which is just a few weeks away. So I'm so stoked. That's like one of my all-time favorite shows that I've been a part of. Look, I've already gotten off topic. What was it? Oh, my favorite show from this year. Helck has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed
Yeah, that's one of my
voice
personal favorites.
voicing in Helck. So that's probably, Shangri-La excluded, since that's kind of a bleed over from we started last fall and we continued into this year. Helck has probably been one of my
Yeah, you're
faves.
like in 12 episodes too in Helck. With the
Yeah.
manga that just finished not too long ago, Helck is currently done in the manga side of things, but there's a lot of story to tell. Do you think we'll see a season 2 for that?
I hope so. It's been a very popular show, and sometimes them getting a season 2 just solely depends on popularity. So we can hope. I don't have any like insider information. I just have my own hope inside my soul that that it happens. But I don't know. But I sure do hope. I sure do hope.
Do you watch any of the anime that you're in?
The ones that I'm a recurring character, I typically do. So like Helck, I've been watching it as it's been dropping every episode. I of course watched Shangri-La Frontier. Some of them, like if I'm just a singular, like I pop in for an episode and that's it. I don't necessarily watch the whole show. There's a lot of anime. When you work in a
Yes, it
studio, you're in
is.
a lot of shows, and there's just not necessarily time to either watch it in advance or even to go back and watch it after. So sometimes if it's like a more pivotal scene, maybe I'll go and watch that episode after the fact. But, usually if you're just popping in for one episode, it's not necessarily important to the plot point. So it just depends. And sometimes there's shows that I watch that I'm not even in at all just because I want to watch it. So it just kind of depends what's going on that season. Also, what I have going on in my life outside of voice acting. It just kind of varies.
What's on your watch list right now? What are you currently watching?
Okay, Helck, obviously. I am this has been on my list forever and it's so sad that I'm behind. I'm so far behind on My Hero Academia, but I love that show. I do watch it. I am like 2 seasons behind, so no spoilers. I know I can't say no spoilers when I'm so far behind. Um I watched that one. I'm trying to think what I just finished. Oh, this is an old one. I just finished Your Lie in April. Have you
Mm.
watched that one? It's very like dramatic and sad, and it's about music and this boy who plays piano and this girl who plays violin. I watched it because a friend recommended it to me, and it's so good, and it gets you right in the feels. So I just finished that one, but that's not a new one. It's been out for several years, I believe.
Are there any ongoing or upcoming animes you would like to be a part of?
To be a part of.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
if you had a choice, because I know y'all really don't get too many choices
yeah, I
on
mean,
what you
we
can
never
be.
get a choice. We can be offered the role and then accept or decline it. I don't know if people ever decline them, but I guess we have that option. Um, I love My Hero Academia. I have played some small parts in the show, but I've never been any sort of like pivotal character. So I would love to be a more pivotal, interesting character in that show. I mean, who doesn't want to be in Kaiju number 8? I mean,
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I kind of enjoyed that one this
that
year.
would be that
That's
would
one of
be
my
great.
favorites.
Yeah. And then the new fairy tale spinoff would of course be fun to be a part of.
Oh, I
So
didn't
there's
get to check that out. Like you said, there's so many great
there's so
animes out
much.
right now.
I
It's hard to
know.
catch up on everything because it's like, all right, I want to watch this, but I'm currently got like these three going on, and then
Right. Right.
so yeah, but I definitely want to get around to that one. You spoke a little bit about My Hero, right? And
Mhm.
you being some small characters in it. Currently, they're talking about spin-offs and a prequel for it. The manga just recently ended, also in like September, no, August, I believe,
Mhm.
something like that. Would you like to be in some type of spin-off?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know any voice actor who wouldn't want to be in anything related to My Hero. Not only is it like a fan favorite that really has a following that people support, they've just got really interesting characters, very compelling. And obviously, as an actor, you like to do compelling and engaging characters. So I would never say no. Never say no to that.
What was you doing before acting, and what inspired you to become an actor?
So I've been a stage actor since I was a kid. I've always been an actor. And I actually went to college to work in film production. I didn't like set out intending to be an actor. I thought I was going to be working behind the scenes, and I still do.
Mm.
Um, but when I first graduated from college, I was working as a producer at a small production company, and we were doing an original animation project for children. And, like most small production companies, your project is on a super low budget. So my boss was like, "Well, Brianna, you're a stage actor. Why don't you just voice this character?" And I was like, "Okay, sure. Why not?" And I did it and I fell in love with it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I love this. How do I do more of this?" So I just started looking for every voiceover specific class that I could find and take. And I have done dozens and dozens and dozens of classes through the years. And I love it. So I didn't like set out to become a voice actor. I don't know that I would have ever even discovered it if that wouldn't have happened in that exact context. So that's how it came about. And, the rest is history, as they say. And now it's like the thing that my creative beating heart pursues.
Yeah, it's become a lot more mainstream now. It's
Hmm.
like, with the conventions, with all the shows, all the job opportunities. Before it was more like, like a get type thing. What would you tell inspiring voice actor nowadays trying to get into the business? Because it was a lot harder. Well, it's a
Hmm.
lot harder now and was a lot easier then.
Yeah, good news, bad news. Good news is there's a lot more anime content because people like it, because it's become more mainstream. There are a lot more shows than there used to be. But because it's more mainstream and people like it, there are a lot more actors than there used to be. And there are specifically people who set out to dub anime and they don't necessarily care about the rest of the voiceover industry. They just want to work in anime. Um, so the good news is there's more opportunities for work in the sense that there are more shows, more characters, more studios are doing anime. But the competition is a lot more fierce. So you really can't do it half-hearted. Like if you're going to do it, you have to go all in because the competition who you're going up against are people who have already been doing this for, 10 years, 15 years, have been taking classes regularly. You're going up against those people too for the same roles because, again, the wonderful thing about voice acting is you're not limited in the roles you can do based on how you look or your age. So that keeps, the casting pool a lot bigger. So you just have to be dedicated. You have to know that you're really going to do it. You have to start taking classes. You do have to have a good professional home studio, which is going to be a financial investment. And ultimately, eventually, you will need to move to a hub city. So LA, obviously. Dallas is another big one for anime specifically. And then there's some stuff in Atlanta too, but I would really say LA and Dallas are the two places that you really eventually have to be because remote recording, as amazing as it is, and as amazing opportunities there are for, say, video games, anime really wants you to be in the booth. So that these are all things you have to think about. Are you committed to being able to eventually relocate? Because if you really want to make it, you're going to have to be in one of those places specifically for dubbing anime.
No, that's crazy. So, but it makes sense because I believe High Dive and a couple of them things are in Texas, right? And then
Hmm.
Crunchyroll is in LA.
Well, Crunchyroll, the recording studio is actually in Dallas.
Oh, it's
So
in Dallas
it
also.
it's in Dallas. Whenever they book actors out of LA, they have a studio they'll record at in LA, but I would say 95% of what's recorded is done in Dallas. And then Sentai or High Dive, their recording studio is in Houston.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. All right, you've been voice acting for a while now, and you voice acted so many great characters. Are there any lines from any one of those characters that resonate with you on a personal level?
I don't know about a specific line. When you come out of a session or even when you watch the scenes, you don't necessarily remember the words that they're saying, but you remember the scene and what you were feeling as the character, as the actor, how you related to it. Because unlike stage acting, you don't memorize your lines. A lot of times you don't even see them until you're literally right there in the booth saying them. So they don't get implanted in your brain the same way that the emotions do. Um, but one of the ones that has always resonated with me, there's a scene with Maranjo in Ranking of Kings, and it's when she kind of has this self-revelation moment that's kind of a turning point for her as a character. She's talking to kind of a flashback of her mom. Her mom is dead, but this is a flashback to like when she was a child, and to also someone that she was responsible for killing. And it was really a pivotal moment for her character and the direction that she was going to go from there. And to me, it was just such an emotional, raw moment of coming to terms with mistakes that she had made in her past and what her path forward was from there. And I think we can all look back on our life and think of times that we made mistakes and we wish we wouldn't have done X, Y, or Z. But how we move forward in our life is how we choose to take our next steps after we come to terms with whatever it is that we regret, and not letting it hold us back, but helping it to keep us accountable for our future. So I just thought that was such a moving scene. So if you haven't watched Ranking of Kings, you totally should. You'll know the scene when you get to it. It's a really good moment.
All right, now this is a couple of questions that we ask all of our guests. Keep in mind, this is your opinion. That's all that really matters. So we want to know what impacted you the most in your life when it comes to anime characters and animes in general. So we're going to start off with the anime characters themselves. What are your top 4 or your Mount Rushmore of anime characters?
So this is a tricky question because I actually did not watch anime until I started working in anime. So I was an adult when I got introduced to it. And when I um, started recording, that was like my first exposure to most anime. I got it through an audition. I have an agent in Dallas. So that's how I got in with the studio, but I wasn't a fan. I didn't know these people, I remember I was going in to record for something and I was talking to Chris Sabat and I had no idea who he was, that he was anyone. I was just talking to him like clueless. He told me his name, but it didn't mean anything to me. Um so I wouldn't say there's necessarily characters that inspired me because I was already an adult. I was already an actor. Um, but I'll say a voice actor whose work has inspired me and the characters that she has voiced is Colleen Clinkenbeard. She
Mm,
voices Luffy. She's a thousand things, but Luffy is her
yeah.
biggest claim to fame in One Piece. Um, one, she's an amazing person. If you ever get the chance to meet her, she is so kind and so wonderful and is truly that way at any time. But she has a lower voice like me. We don't sound like your cute, squeaky anime voices. And just seeing the career that she made for herself and the amazing characters that she created, even having a lower voice and her range, because she does have a lot more range. Sometimes she'll voice things that you don't realize is her.
Exactly. I
Um,
didn't know she was Luffy.
yeah, right? She's amazing. She's so cool. And she was also I have a 2.5-year-old. I have a wee child. And when I first had him, she was so encouraging and talking to me about being a mom in the industry and just how to make it work. And she stays in touch with me and encourages me. So just her journey and path as a voice actor has been very inspiring, and she's someone that I look up to and would like to be like, not just in my performance abilities, but also how she carries herself in the industry and relates to others. So that kind of answers your question.
So you definitely putting Luffy on the Mount Rushmore.
Yes, Luffy because it's Colleen. So
So you got
um,
3 more. Who would be your other 3?
okay, that's the big one. Um,
Hey, you could be biased and put some of your characters up there because they impacted your life, right? They're
This is
definitely.
true. This is true. Okay, so let me think of one of the ones that was most important to me. Um this is one, like, people don't even know this show. I voiced a character called Susanna in Afterlost. It's an old show. It was one of the earlier ones that I did. And it was really one of my first major recurring roles in a show. And so even though no one knows that show when I mention it, like and I don't even know that if it was that great of a show, which maybe that's why I got cast when I was still so new. Who knows? No, I'm kidding. Mike McFarlane cast me in that, and that was when I was just still so new, and I just couldn't believe that anyone thought that I was capable of doing this. That someone would trust me with a recurring role. So Susanna and After Lost, I go back and I listen to stuff from the show, and I can hear how green I was because as you grow and you get better, your ear gets more fine-tuned and you hear the nuances in your performance or other people's performance, and I hear them like, oh, baby Brianna was like, woo. And so the fact though that Mike believed in me and trusted me and gave me this character made me feel like I could do it. That okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can find a place in this industry. So that was an important one in my career. One that I'll always remember. I won't ever forget. Because I know I voiced other stuff around that time after the fact, but I don't necessarily remember because they weren't like so pivotal in like defining my confidence in myself. So that's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. Okay, I gotta think of two more. Okay. Again, the
Got
characters
two
are
more. That's right.
the characters are hard
Or what
because
you could do, you could go in your, your childhood bag and get a couple of characters, from cartoons that
that it
impacted your life, or
impacted me.
maybe, something that was like, uh, you know,
Okay, I gotta think. Characters that impacted my life. It's not cartoon, man. I was a big Star Wars nerd. Like, freaking loved Star
hey,
Wars.
you could, matter of fact, I'll let you rock this time. Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Okay, if we're talking about like wee whippersnapper Brianna, we're not talking about my assessment of the character now. Um, young Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace. Um, we can talk about his performance all day long, or the show, or the movie and stuff. But I was around his age when that movie came out, so it was like the coolest ever.
And you're
That
like
and he was
Anakin.
like a kid, and in my brain, like I didn't know that he was an actor. This was the Anakin Skywalker. He was my age, and he was gonna be a Jedi, and like because I grew up watching the original one. So when that one came out, I just like I had a I had a beach towel that had young Anakin Skywalker in his in his little goggles, when he's in the pod racer. Um I just thought he was the coolest character ever, and I stayed obsessed with Star Wars to this day. So
So Anakin would be your third, right?
third,
All right, you
yeah,
got
on there
one
for
more.
one more.
What about
Okay.
now the adult Brianna?
Adult Brianna.
Who would you pick
Okay.
in the Star Wars universe?
Oh, in the Star Wars universe now, Obi-Wan Kenobi, by Ewan McGregor. Oh man, they've really fleshed out his character and his backstory and stuff, and he's got so much interesting. And if you've watched the animated Clone Wars series, his character is just
One of my
the most.
favorites, by the way.
Yeah, I mean that
Top
character
5.
is just so good. And Ewan McGregor, who does it in the live action everything, he's just one of the best actors ever. So that's who adult Brianna would say is my favorite Star Wars character.
All right, so we'll let you rock with the Mount Rushmore this time. All right, now since you didn't really watch too many animes, right? I'm pretty sure you don't have a top 3. So let's do top 3 shows of all time. If you could pick 3 shows in order, 1, 2, and 3, what would be your top 3 shows of all time?
Animated or just of anything?
Let's do animated.
Animated. Okay. Clone Wars, as we just discussed. Love it, especially once you get past the first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons were really more geared for kids, and they were kind of like figuring out the show and like, oh wait, adults are watching this. The ones who grew up watching Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Dave Filoni and them did a great job on Clone Wars, man. I really enjoyed that one too. And Rebels hit different too for me.
Yeah, yeah. So
So you
yes.
got Clone Wars number 1.
Clone Wars for sure. Rewatch value 100%. I'm pretty sure I've watched through it like maybe 3 times at this point. Okay, so I have watched some anime. Once I started working, I was like, okay, I've got to go back and watch some of these classics. Pay homage to to the industry. So I really like Full Metal Alchemist. That was
Ooh,
one of the
that's a
ones I
good one.
went back and watched. The story is so good. There's so many great voice actors in there. Caitlin Glass, that was one of her like earlier big breakout roles. Wendy Powell, who voices Envy, she and I are really good friends now. So it's like super strange, like having watched this show before I really knew anyone, and now being friends with these people. It's such a good story. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Really, really, really like that show. And another one I really like that is totally different from the other ones is Fruits Basket. I love Fruits Basket.
Oh,
The new
that's
the
too
new
fun.
one, the new one that they made. Or
I
the
gotta
the
check it
reboot.
out. Is it good?
It's so good. Because it was a reboot. It wasn't like a continuation of the story. It was a reboot, but they brought back the original 3 voice actors um from when it was done years and years ago. It's so good. It's just this precious little slice of life, but kind of not science fiction. That's not the word.
I gotta get more into my slice of life bag, man, because I'm so used to the and all the action and
Well,
type animes that I gotta
yes,
get more into the slice of life side.
slice of life isn't typically like my go-to for watching shows, but I really enjoyed that one. Really, really enjoyed it. I would say a close ranking to that one, which again is completely different, is Attack on Titan. That's not even like
Ooh.
close to the same genre of Fruits Basket. Um, but I want to say when I started working at it was Funimation at the time. I want to say Attack on Titan was one of the earliest ones that I started watching when I started working at the studio. So I really like that one. I've kind of been along for the journey for the last few years. The story's really good. If you can get past like the blood and the munching of the people, like it's a really good.
No, it really is a good show, man. And I hope they do something else with the franchise. I don't know what, maybe a remake or a movie. Well, I don't know about movies
I don't
nowadays.
know. It's such a popular
Adaptation.
show, and now that it's ended, I could see them trying to find some way to capitalize off of it, but I don't know. So was that my top 3.5, I guess.
All right. Do you have any projects or conventions coming up that you're able to talk about?
No conventions. I just last weekend went to my last convention for the calendar year. I went to Nandesukan in Colorado. It was wonderful. If you would like to see me next year, let your local convention know you want to see Brianna Roberts. I'm a lot of fun, guys. I do a really fun.
Definitely is, man. Because this interview was a lot of fun.
Oh, good. I do a really fun panel called the Animom. That's a guessing game, like a game show type guessing game, because I've voiced a lot of moms in anime, a lot of moms. So yeah, request me to come to your con. I'd love to come meet you. I am super chatty. I will probably talk to you for too long if you come to my table. So yeah, so none on the books, but we'll hope to have some coming up for 2025. Wow, 2020. Oh gosh, it's 2025 almost. Wow, time goes
Yeah,
fast.
man. Time does speed up, man.
It does.
Especially
And
when you're having fun.
when you're having fun, yes. And also just as you get older, time just goes fast. Upcoming projects. I mentioned earlier Shangri-La Frontier season 2 is coming out. Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I am so stoked to start recording that show. It's so cool. If you're not familiar with it, it's not really an isekai. It takes most of the story takes place in a video game, but not because they got transported to a video game. It's in like future world where video games are so advanced. They're called god tier games, and they're basically like VR headsets you put on and you enter the world. So most of the storyline takes place in this god tier amazing game that they are in, and then you sometimes get them in their regular life, but most of it's all in the game.
They're in the game. That's pretty dope. I can't wait to see it, man.
It's so
Heroes,
good.
man. Don't forget to leave your comments, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more interviews and discussions. This was our episode with Brianna Roberts. Let them know where they can find you at on Instagram.
Voices by Bree is my handle on Instagram and X, and it's also my website is voicesbybrie.com.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming in, Heroes. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we out of here.
Sing it with me, pretty cat.